The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. It looks like it's right at 10 o'clock. We'll wait one more minute for people to join, and then we'll get started. All right, we have a couple people still jumping on, but we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome to everyone, and thank you for joining us for what I believe is going to be an informative webinar today about HR that directly impacts business growth. My name is Marcus Wilbers, and I'm excited to host today's conversation with two very engaging professionals with deep experience helping small and medium-sized businesses with HR challenges. Now, before I introduce Greg and Tara, I want to go through a couple housekeeping items. All of your mics have been muted for the enjoyment of other listeners. So that's not to say we don't want to hear from you, because we absolutely do. But you should feel free to submit questions in the chat function of this webinar. And we will get to them at the end of the presentation or try to address them the best that we can as we go along. We've also received questions from some of you as part of the registration, and we'll incorporate those into the presentation today and answer those as we go. Lastly, we are recording this presentation, and we will make this available to everyone who registered. So if you hear something that you like or you want to share, you'll be able to rewatch and to share as needed. So we'll go ahead and get started. If we want to go to the next slide. There we go. Here are our presenters today, and I'm very happy to introduce them. First up is Greg Slamowitz. Greg is an entrepreneur, investor, professor, speaker, and just generally an all-around expert on starting, growing, and scaling businesses. And he knows firsthand the role that HR plays in those functions. He's also the author of a book called Flip the Pyramid: How Any Organization Can Create a Workforce That is Engaged, Aligned, Empowered, and on Fire. Thanks for joining us, Greg.
Thanks, Marcus. Thanks for having me, and nice to meet everybody on the call. Just a little more about myself. I've built and sold profitable, growth-oriented companies. I'm currently an investor in Tandem, and I am on I'm the lead independent board member on the Tandem board. I've also taught entrepreneurship for 3 years at Montana State University in Bozeman. That was an awesome experience. I have a fair amount of experience and some pretty strong views on outsourcing non-core functions. I always look at the companies I'm involved in. I always look at figuring out what is core and what is non-core. And anything that is non-core, I look to outsource to a capable, quality provider that has a lot more expertise and a lot more skill set in that non-core area than I could ever have or even want. And the reason, strategically, the reason I like to bifurcate core from non-core is because I want an organization that is spending 95% or more of its time on core functions. I don't want a company that's spending 75% of its time on core functions and 25% of its time on non-core. You got to get your organization's activities totally focused on your core functions. And really, ideally, what you want is you want your company to be focusing 95% of its time on core functions, and you want your competitors only spending 75% of their time on core functions. So by focusing as much time as possible on core functions, it's going to give you a competitive advantage. You're going to move faster. You're going to be more focused on delivering to your clients. You're going to be more profitable, and you're just going to be a better company. So that's kind of how I look at core versus non-core from a strategic perspective. And then tactically, you just have to make sure you find the right partner and outsource your non-core functions properly. And then just one last point I want to make, and it's more specific to outsourcing HR, payroll, and benefits to a professional employer organization. And in my experience, I found that it allows you to step onto a much more mature, a much more robust HR, payroll, and benefits platform. It's a platform that, since it's non-core to you, you're not going to be able to build on your own. And here's another strategic advantage: by outsourcing HR, payroll, and benefits to a PEO and stepping onto this bigger platform, it's going to allow you to recruit and retain better human capital. And again, this is going to give you a competitive advantage versus your competitors in the marketplace. So you're going to be doing two things strategically. You're going to be moving your core function activities from 75% to 95%, and now you're going to be recruiting and retaining better human capital. And you put those two together, and it's like an accelerant. Actually, business, I think, becomes easier, and it allows you to grow and become profitable and outcompete your competitors. So that's kind of my strategic view on outsourcing and the PEO. And having said that, I'm going to turn it over to the author of the ebook and our wonderful president of Tandem, Conger.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Greg. Appreciate it. Greg is a wealth of knowledge, as you can see already. I'm excited for you to jump in and add value to the conversation, Greg, along the way. But I'm Tara Conger. I'm the president of Tandem HR. I have the pleasure of leading a great team that helps support our clients and their employees all over the country. My background is in HR and building culture and people, which I'm very passionate about. So at Tandem, we deliver HR solutions so our clients can deliver business results. It's exactly what Greg was already speaking to, core versus non-core functions, and we do the HR piece of that. So we've been in business for about 25 years. We are one of approximately 70 PEOs in the country that is CPO certified with the IRS. We're also ESAC accredited, and I'll talk more about what a PEO is in CPEO if we hit on that at the end as well. We're headquartered just outside of Chicago, Illinois. We have offices in Madison and St. Louis, and we are in the business for our clients to help them succeed and make their lives easier by taking that HR administrative burden off of their plates so they can focus on what they do best, on their core. But super passionate, like I said, about building culture and our people. It's about who we are, why we exist, and frankly, how we treat each other. So if we have a great internal team, then we're truly an extension of our clients' teams. And we help them go through the good times and definitely the bad times. If you think of COVID, we added a lot of value for our clients and support, and we help educate on hundreds of different laws and regulations to keep them compliant and safe each and every day. So I love the industry, the PEO model. It makes sense for many businesses out there. I have the pleasure of sitting on the National PEO Board of Directors, which Greg has also been on prior and was chair. And it's a great group of individuals within the PEO industry. We really want to help each other succeed in order to grow the industry. I'd say the PEO concept is widely known in certain parts of the country. If you think of Florida and Texas and the coast, and it's catching on more and more in the Midwest. So excited to share more about what a PEO is. So we're going to tackle, oh, yep, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we've got kind of the theme out here of core versus non-core, the ways that PEOs can help. And I think, that's probably a good theme to keep in mind. And as we look here, at the ebook, Tara, there's 8 things you should consider outsourcing to help your business grow. And that kind of will give us the structure. We'll kind of look at all of the different, or at least the 8 core ways that PEOs can help.
Yes, awesome. And Marcus, feel free to chime in, and ask questions along the way as we go. If I use acronyms, I don't explain what that is, please put it in the chat. There's a lot of acronyms sometimes in the PEO industry in general, so feel free to stop me. So what is a PEO? Greg talked a little bit about it already. And really a PEO allows small and medium-sized businesses to outsource most of their HR management responsibilities to us. It can be cost effective, and we oversee essentially HR, payroll, benefits, and risk management. So for simplicity and understanding, we refer to it as HR outsourcing. So when businesses partner with a PEO or a professional or employer organization, a co-employment relationship is established. So meaning a co-employment, their employees become our employer of record for tax purposes with us, and we assume certain employer rights and responsibilities and risks, while the company and client, they retain control essentially over their business operations, hiring and firing, and staff advancement. So it's a unique relationship that sets PEO apart from just a regular HR outsourcing company, and it allows companies to take advantage of a large group benefit plan to offer your employees. And we'll talk more about that later. But think of it as you work with experts each and every day, right? If there's something that happens in your house, you call an electrician. If you need to rewire your building, if the plumbing is wrong or your pipes burst, you call a plumber. Same with you hire an accountant to do your taxes and a lawyer to guide you through certain parts of litigation. So many of you are already outsourcing in these areas. It could be a payroll provider, HR consultants, employment law attorney, insurance agent, benefits broker. So really, we're providing one professional team of experts to help solve the problems in a single source HR outsourcing relationship. So you don't have all these different vendors, where we can really take that on as a single source. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, Greg, to the PEO model itself. Otherwise, we can keep going. But there's statistics you can see. Sorry, not to interrupt, but so your business is your passion, and serving customers, keeping you safe, productive, increasing your bottom line is at the core business objective. Equally important and quite complex are the administrative matters, right, related to paying your employees, providing benefits, and navigating all of the ever-changing HR regulations. And that's where we come in. And when leaders don't have to worry about that day-to-day HR work, instead put full attention on the mission of the company and the core, it definitely increases the likelihood of business growth. So NAPIO, which is the National Association of PEOs, did a research study, and businesses that work with PEOs grow 7 to 9% faster.
Yeah, I just want to, that's a really important point. And I recently went through that study that the trade association commissioned a third party. And what was really interesting is that even in downturns, small businesses with using a PEO significantly outperformed their peers. The downturn for the company using a PEO was a lot less severe than its peer group. So that's, PEOs really help you grow and recruit in a hot economy, and that's super, and that's great. You could outrun your competitors. I think it's important to also note in a downturn, a PEO can act defensively and really help the client company navigate a contraction.
So fair to say that the hallmark really of what distinguishes a PEO relationship from another vendor relationship is co-employment, correct?
Yeah, but I think that's like, like just a kind of legal method that we use to deliver our value proposition. I think it's more important to focus on the value proposition, and that is we bring, like a Fortune 500 HR payroll and benefits platform, like an integrated, comprehensive HR payroll and benefits platform that you would generally see at a Fortune 500 company. And co-employment is just the legal technology we use to deliver this unbelievable platform to the small business. Really what we're doing is we're putting America's small businesses on par with America's larger businesses from an HR payroll and benefits platform. And through a PEO, you can look like a Fortune 500 company from an HR payroll and benefits perspective. And it's the co-employment relationship that technically allows us to do that.
That's a good distinction.
And what Greg means by that, so co-employment relationship, essentially it's our federal ID number. So what we're doing is, if you think of a company that has 20 employees, for them to go out and get competitive benefits, medical, dental, vision, name the gamut, there's not a lot of negotiating power, essentially. So what we do is we pool all of our lives together, all the company's employees that we work with, we pool together to be able to negotiate Fortune 500 level benefits. So that is why there's a co-employment relationship piece there in order to come on our master benefit plans and our work comp plan.
Yeah, one way I like to look at it is, small business on their own, despite what your independent insurance broker might tell you, you're pretty much a price taker. And when you join the PEO platform and your employees are grouped with everybody else's employees, and now the PEO goes to United Healthcare or Blue Cross with 10,000 plus employees, I've been in these discussions. It's a negotiation. It's a real negotiation. It's a very different discussion.
Yeah, so the employees that you have in your business versus the 21,000 or so that are part of the Tandem platform, it's a big difference.
We have the vendor's attention.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's take a look at the 8 areas that we're gonna cover today. Talent acquisition, payroll, benefits and 401k, employee relations, training and development, risk management and safety, regulatory compliance, and separation, meaning employee separation. So we'll take each of those in turn and kind of articulate the value of being in a PEO relationship and how that can help your business.
Awesome. So let's start with talent. So what sets a business apart from its competitors is its people. Your employees make your work possible, and ensuring that your employees can spend the time where their talent lies is extremely important. I would say COVID has forever changed the talent world. So I think employers grapple with the reality of low supply, low retention in today's more hybrid-driven labor market. So it's a new normal for attrition, and as retaining talent in a hybrid or remote environment can definitely be more difficult. Bright spots of remote work and COVID is it grants us access to a larger labor pool and diverse candidates. So it can help us hire people from all walks of life, free of geographic confines and personal circumstances. So that talent pool definitely expands. But also opens a door for your competitors to poach kind of your talent or maybe your top people. So that is where it comes in. It's super important. It underscores remote work. I feel like underscores that importance of increasing employee satisfaction and engagement so that you can keep your A players. So what are the different things that a PEO can help with? There's many different things, but think of all the work that is included when you hire people. So making the hire requires an offer letter, new hire paperwork, employee reporting, onboarding, training and development. The list goes on and on. So with each step in the process, it can be time consuming, but it's a necessary piece of obviously acquiring talent and onboarding talent. So when you partner with a PEO, it doesn't sit squarely on your shoulders. So you make the final decisions about who you're hiring, but you have an entire team of professionals behind you to take kind of the heaviest part of the burden off your plate. So as a PEO, how do you find and keep the right people? We help with applicant tracking software, so that integrates into an online system, creating a seamless transition from somebody applying at the job application through onboarding, help create job descriptions. We get bulk rates and discounts for advertising, open positions on, you name it, LinkedIn, Career Builder. We can help with offer letters and templates. We answer questions about new hire paperwork, remind employees to be compliant in order to get the paperwork in, new hire reporting, and then we also have a learning management system and software that can help with training modules and training sessions. So really, what's on the employer's portion of talent is conducting interviews and choosing new hires. So if you want a different view, or somebody, one of our HR business partners to screen that talent, or your top two, we can definitely do that. But it's conducting those interviews, choosing who you're hiring, and sending that offer letter, and greeting them and onboarding them to your company. So we try to take a bunch of the heavy lift off from a talent perspective.
This reminds me, when we talk about talent acquisition, about the book, Jim Collins' book, Good to Great, and finding the right people and getting them in the right seats on the bus. You got to find those people and invite them to join the bus. But you talked a little bit, Tara, about the tactical perspective, but also back to something Greg was saying earlier. Making your employment offering more attractive with a better benefits package. Hopefully you can get that right talent and get them on the bus.
Greg, is there anything you want to add from a talent perspective?
I mean, it's a game changer. I mean, to be able to recruit and retain for a small business, that's often a small business often struggles recruiting top tier talent away from larger companies, because there's a huge step down in the benefits that the small business offers. And to be able to recruit talent and offer a first-class top-tier HR payroll and benefits platform is going to allow you to recruit and retain better human capital, which allows you to be more profitable and a stronger company. It's kind of simple.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get those people on board, you have to pay them, right? Which takes us to our next service.
That's a good segue, Marcus. Yeah, I think many business owners out there can identify that there's a lot more to payroll than just cutting a check. So verifying timesheets, confirming pay rates, figuring out benefit deductions and withholdings, can be someone's full-time job. But some people make that a full-time job, but working with a PEO, we're really trying to ease the burden of payroll. So again, an access to a team of experts. When I think of, I'll stop there for a second. When I think of a small company that has 20 employees or 40 employees or 50, it's hard for that one person, whether it's an office manager or name the position, to be an expert in everything, right? To be an expert in payroll, benefits, HR, risk. That's almost impossible. So working with a PEO, we have experts in each one of these areas. So to ease the burden of payroll, right, we have a payroll team. So you don't have to depend on one person's expertise, where you have kind of that key risk syndrome if that one person leaves. So we really take on the payroll and tax administration. We also do payroll preparation, filing tax returns, and we have a software, a robust payroll software. So again, we want to take over that administrative burden for you, and that could be employment reports, pay deductions, filing tax returns, garnishments, payroll taxes, new hire reporting, the list goes on and on, wage verifications. So besides everything you see kind of listed on this screen, again, one other thing I'd like to mention is we also offer our clients earned wage access. And some of you might be wondering, okay, well, what is that? It allows employees to get paid in advance should they need it. Clients have to sign up for it with us, but basically it can be very attractive to clients that are in higher turnover industries. So where employees have maybe lower paying positions and might be living paycheck to paycheck. It's been really, really popular for some of our clients in hospitality, healthcare, and senior living space in particular, but it just allows that employee to get their earned wages in advance of their actual paycheck. So just a benefit, again, being that we're a PEO and we can see what's out there in the industry, we can offer different types of benefits like earned wage access.
I'll just add to that, Tara, that has been kind of a newer trend, the earned wage access. And I always like to point out that's something that employers can offer without taking on additional risk, without fronting money themselves. That's the power of the vendor relationship that we've cultivated. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
All right. We'll move on to benefits. So if you don't know, benefits are expensive. It's usually one of a client's or employer's top spends. So because of the way our group plans work, offering more than the bare minimum can be incredibly cost prohibitive sometimes for small businesses. So because it's a key piece of bringing the right talent in that Greg's talking to and keeping them on board and retaining them, it's a crucial part of it. Typically, I think most people, in particular, medical insurance is one, if you look at the list of benefits that they technically care about the most. So partnering with us or at any PEO, it doesn't only mean access to those large group benefits at more affordable rates. It also means that you're working with experts to develop and execute a benefit strategy. So again, being a co-employment, clients are able to access all of our large group master plans for medical, dental, vision, life insurance, short-term disability, long-term disability, supplemental life, and 401k. So as a PEO, we can administer the plans, and we do everything from electronic open enrollment process to claims management assistance and even some vendor bill consolidation. So as a PEO, we are the ones that are negotiating, like Greg talked about. Basically, we are working with the insurance carriers on the analysis, negotiating them, the benefits with them. We do carrier communications on the client's behalf, and then claims management and escalation should issues arise. And then open enrollment, we're helping with education and open enrollment employee orientations as part of benefits. There's also, if you think about the different things, there's COBRA administration. We help with leaves, family medical leave, disability administration. So there's more to just benefits than enrolling in it. And we really try and take that heavy burden off. We also do the 5500 filings, employee benefit files. We do mailings, the ACA compliance, and 1095 as well, just to name a few of those. And you'll see the list of kind of everything we do from a benefit standpoint in the ebook itself.
And Tara, don't we also do healthcare reimbursement accounts and
yes, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Which are really a great benefit, especially the dependent care reimbursement account.
Yeah.
Where.
Yes, thanks for mentioning that, Greg. That's one thing I missed. So flex spending account, HSA account. So yeah, dependent care account. So yes, that is also part of our benefits offering.
And do we have some of those I can't remember if pet insurance or whatever.
Identity theft, yeah. Pet insurance, identity theft, correct. Yeah, yeah. Yes, we do. Go ahead.
You often have those, if you work at a big company and then you go work for a small company, you lose a lot of those nice little, you lose the large array of benefits, and it's really nice to be working for a 20-person company and just having, a comprehensive array of benefits.
And Greg, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about when we say we have these benefit offerings, or we can bring these benefit offerings to small and medium-sized businesses, that doesn't mean that it's here is your one option, take it or leave it, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a really good point. I think that needs to be made. That we work with our clients to adjust and modify and structure our platform. So the platform can be, to a certain extent, customized for the business. And a private equity or venture capital or a law firm in downtown Chicago is going to we're going to work with them to structure the platform so they're competitive or slightly outcompeting their competitors, other law firms. And then a light manufacturing firm, outside of the city, they're not going to take our platform like it's structured for the law firm. We're going to tweak it for the light manufacturing firm to make them competitive in their space. So, Marcus, that's a really good point. You got this very comprehensive benefits platform, yet we adjust it and modify it and structure it for our clients to make them competitive in their space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to add on to that, because we work with so many hundreds and hundreds of clients, we can also look, if you have a question, if you're a manufacturer, okay, what is the competition doing, right? What benefits are they offering, and how can we do that to become more competitive and attract talent? So I think that's also a benefit unique to PEOs when you work across different multiple industries and have obviously lots of clients in certain segments in particular. And I should say we're industry agnostic as a PEO. On that point, some PEOs specialize in maybe just transportation or hospitality. We are industry agnostic. We have a lot of professional services, IT. If you look at that side, we have healthcare, senior living, we have property management. So the list goes on and on. But I would just say we're industry agnostic.
I want to build on that point, Tara, because that's huge. I mean, we have knowledge. We have. I'm pretty confident we're going to have some of your competitors on our platform. We're not going to tell you, who they are, but on a no means basis, on a more macro level. We're able to give you guidance when we're working with you to structure your platform, and we could tell you, whether you're competitive or you're not.
Yeah, and that insight I think is really important, especially when you're talking about such a big dollar spend. It benefits.
That's right. It's a big line item, and you want to make sure you get the allocation of the spend across the platform proper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we have a fantastic team of individuals who help all of our clients assess the plans, right? There's different plan offerings and different funding levels and what an employer should fund versus employee should fund. So we have an excellent group of individuals that can help kind of walk through that, so you're not guessing what that might be, but we also help with that.
Yeah, it's a very deep topic, benefits and 401k, but let's keep moving on.
Sure. All right, what's next? Employee relations. So there's different, you can see the list, right, of all the different things that a PEO kind of can help with, and making sure that you're putting the right initiatives in place for your company. So building your employee handbook is actually incredibly important. Marcus, you can probably speak to that. Marcus is a employment law attorney, former employment long-term
Yeah,
recovering, that's the word you use. Recovering. You can speak to probably the importance of an employee handbook shortly. Creating electronic personnel filings. We manage unemployment claims, everything to assessing performance management tools, helping create employee retention strategies, and helping with business investigations or complaints, which can be extremely time consuming. So you can see the multitude of different items and areas that we can help with, but employee relations can be super time consuming and I would say foreign for some. So walking employers through a difficult situation, helping them with a difficult conversation, role playing, being in the meeting, on Zoom or Teams or whatever that may be, to walk through an employee termination and how you handle that. So that's what we are here for. And we sometimes hear clients say, like, you know what, we came to you for competitive benefit offerings, but we stay for the HR support because you're a trusted partner, right? So you know our business, you work with us, you work with our employees. And I think that's one of the biggest value propositions at Tandem in particular is that HR support. So our HR staff is 3 to 4 times bigger than the national industry average for PEOs. So it's something we really pride ourselves in and helping our clients with, whether it's compliance, right? All the HR rules and laws, and we can talk about that next, but employee relations is such a key piece of it because you want to treat your employees just as well on the way out as coming in. Again, to make sure you have a great culture. So, yeah, Marcus, feel free to jump in. I know this is a specialty area for you as well.
Yeah. I think of this as managing risk. You have a certain amount of risk that you take on just by employing people, and we can help you manage that with the right policies, procedures, how you handle critical conversations, and then, when the risk comes to fruition, as it does from time to time, we also help you manage that claims process, and we have employer practices liability insurance to help you mitigate that risk when it does arise.
Marcus, I have to build on that because that's a really interesting point, and I think that point is huge. That the HR infrastructure that the PO allows a small business to put in place, clearly reduces risks. Having a sexual harassment policy, a committee being able to professionally deal with those situations. I would add that there's a whole nother side that's just as important, and that is being a small business that professionally and competently treats its employees. And by having the handbook and having the policies and having the legal and HR knowledge behind you allows you to professionally and properly treat your employees, and your employees will feel that and know it and appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you think of one where sometimes we have clients come to us as if they've gotten into trouble, right? They have a EEOC claim, for example. I mean, one EEOC claim can be hundreds of hours. So you want to make sure, again, you're doing the right things, whether it's with or without a PEO, but that you're doing the right things. And, we can help our clients walk through, should they get, whether it's a DOL audit or EEOC claim, because we've seen it, right, and we've done it, and how can we help partner together to make sure that doesn't happen again for a client. Yeah. So,
and when those things happen, it has a detrimental impact on morale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this risk is there, whether you partner with a PEO or not. So it's important to manage it because it's just there.
And it could be a big distraction, and it could drag your company down.
Yeah, Marcus, I don't know if you just want to briefly touch on EPLI. We're a little different in that we.
Sure. Yeah. So EPLI, Employer Practices Liability Insurance. You can control, well, you can't control, you can manage the risk to the best of your ability, but what you can't control is if someone feels mistreated or if they want to file a claim. Unfortunately, just by filing a claim, an employer is going to incur cost. They're going to have to spend time to defend themselves. What EPLI does is it appoints a lawyer to represent you and help you manage that claims process, and it also caps your responsibility. So you have a deductible. Once you hit that deductible, the insurance policy will kick in to pay the legal fees and even the settlement of whatever the claim is. So it's a way to really limit this risk because you can reduce it, but you can't eliminate it.
Yeah, and what's interesting, the EPLI insurers like working with a PEO, like writing insurance through a PEO, because they know that the PEO has the front end that is reducing the risk.
Yeah, and at Tandem, we look at this as, a partnership, and so in the event of a claim, we split that deductible with you. First dollar, dollar for dollar, for starting from the first dollar. We look at it as it's our risk to help manage as well.
And that is somewhat unique, I would say.
Yeah.
So it puts
it
puts an incentive on us, an economic incentive on us to work with our clients to actually to treat employees fairly, not mistreat employees, and have the legal practices in place to work with you to reduce the risk.
You got it. Yep. Well, let's move on to training and development next.
Yeah, I think the next 4 can be a little bit shorter sections, but just so we can kind of save some time. I know there's some questions, but training and development. So talented employees are really looking for employers who will let them focus on their skills. So I think a recent Gallup poll found that candidates ranked being able to do what they do best as the 3rd most important factor for a new job. And that came after an increase in income, of course, or benefits, and a better work-life balance. So by offering employees continual learning opportunities, you're going to capitalize on their skill sets, which is something they clearly want, but also help them grow those skills and can help them work more efficiently and effectively. So building out a robust development program can be daunting, obviously, again, for small businesses. So this is one place that we can help. So by partnering with a third party, not only makes sense, or it only makes creating a training development program more seamless, it also lifts that weight of maintaining that program off of your shoulders again, so you can focus on your core. So our learning management software has thousands of courses our clients have access to, and we also offer state mandated training, which is super important, like anti-harassment. Don't know if Marcus, if there's anything else you want to add there.
No, just I think you covered it. Just to add that that's something that we just offer our PEO clients is a learning management platform that they can tap into as part of the offering.
Awesome. All right, risk management and safety. So no matter maybe sometimes how safety conscious an employer is, an employee can still get hurt. And think of slip, trips, and falls in this lovely, Midwest weather with, I don't know, an ice storm coming maybe, or snow. But the impact of an injured employee is a lot more than simply worrying about their recovery, because it can result in investigations, potentially litigation, and more. So creating a safe and work environment is very important. And we can help you with that, so you can get better rates for your workers' compensation plan. And we have a team of risk managers that can help administer if there's any claims. So it sometimes starts with a risk analysis. If there's workplace hazards that we can help with before injuries occur. If an injury happens, you have a team, again, that can handle all of the workers' compensation claims. And we try to keep all of our clients up to date on the latest safety and compliance standards. So besides workers' comp, we also offer services such as E-Verify, discounted background checks, employment verifications, and drug screening as well. and some others as you can see on the screen.
Yeah, there's a component of this that is just required by law, offering workers' compensation coverage. However, like you said, there are other services that impact work comp rates, impact the safety of your workforce, and so it's more comprehensive than just hey, can you get me a deal on work comp?
Greg, anything you want to add on that topic?
No, I think that's
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Awesome. We kind of touched a little bit briefly on this already, but regulatory compliance. So hiring the right people is essential to your business growth, but employing people comes with hundreds of federal, state, and local employment laws. And not all laws apply to all businesses, but all businesses are responsible for not only knowing and following the ones that do apply to them. And I think that can be difficult and challenging, again, for a small business. I think I've heard it, more than once from our clients, like, I didn't know what I didn't know, right? Like, I had no idea. And by the time that you've discovered you don't know, it can already sometimes be too late. So does it make sense to have a full-time person dedicated to this? Probably not. For small businesses, I would say no. But again, that's where a PEO can help, because we have experts on staff whose job is to keep a pulse on employment laws and and be able to apply those laws to your business. And they can assist with government compliance, reporting, and agency interfacing, kind of, again, to take that weight and worry, I would say, off of your shoulders. So
Yeah, I would add, you know what I'd add to this, Tara?
Yeah.
Listen, I just think this needs to be outsourced. And what makes this even more complicated, you have all these federal rules, and then these states later on more rules. And what we're seeing is small companies are now operating in multiple jurisdictions pretty early on. And there are new, especially if you go to like California, I mean, that's kind of like the crazy example. And New York's pretty bad, but you start operating in a couple of states, you're 25, 50, 75 employees, and we see companies that size operating in 10 states. And the regulatory complexity is high. And that's, the PEO is not only an expert in the federal HR labor laws, but we are also an expert in the state HR and labor laws.
Yeah, again, I think COVID, like to your point, Greg, has changed this. I mean, it changed it very quickly, where typically we'd see a client who had 20 employees headquartered in Chicago, let's call it. Well, now they have 20 there, and they have 5 in Indiana and 5 in Texas and 2 in Missouri. I mean, all over the country. And it's hard for, again, a single employer to be up to speed on what all of those local and state laws are as well.
Especially when they keep changing.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to separation. So yes, separations are sometimes cannot be fun situations to be in, whether it's an employee leaving because they find another opportunity, or the decision is to terminate someone because they're not performing. So, but even in situations where employees retiring or leaving the workforce, separation can be challenging. I mean, I would say for everyone involved. So we can help guide through that separation process. We offer objectivity, consistency, so that you can make the best decisions for your business, again, with compliance in mind. And again, while the PEO, we can't make that final decision for you. We can help you through those tough conversations and handle all the related paperwork as well. So I definitely have heard many, many times from clients, thank you so much, right? Your HR business partner was amazing to walk through a situation and challenging times, whether it's, helping exit an employee, or whether it may be due to an investigation. So it can get sticky and be somewhat time consuming. So I'd say this is an area, again, where we do a really good job from our HR team.
Yeah, if I could add to that, you know, it's kind of simple. There's a right way to do separations and a wrong way to do separations, and we know the right way really well, and we're like this and separate. I've done them. I mean, the emotional component is just so high and so horrible, and to have this like non-emotional, very experienced separation team behind you just like helps you navigate and get through what can be a very stressful and emotional process, you know, for both sides.
Yeah, I think it's something that people tend to avoid at times because it is so difficult emotionally and so uncomfortable. And that's where having a partner or having someone that you can bounce ideas off is I think very helpful, because like you said, there's a right way and a wrong way, and the wrong way has legal consequences.
Yeah, and I just noticed this here. I think this is really right. Saying goodbye doesn't have to be so hard. Mm-hmm. And really what you're getting at is it's like, it's emotional, it's, you know, it's fraught with legal minefields, and having professionals, you know, backing you up is really makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a few minutes left for Q&A. I believe that's next, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So I do have a couple questions that were submitted. So we'll start with those, but again, all attendees, if you want, please feel free to use the chat feature here in the webinar toolbox to submit any other questions. But first up, we had a question that we have an attendee who's looking for new trends to reduce turnover, increase morale, and provide training for employees. Any advice that Tara or Greg you'd like to share?
Yeah, what I would say too is if we don't get to all the questions, if Abby, you can just denote what the questions are and who the attendee is, we can personally follow up with an email or a phone call as well. Trends, I mean, I would say we've talked a little bit about it, but flexibility with remote and hybrid environment that happened with COVID, we're not seeing that go away at all. Actually, unless it's a manufacturer or a company where you have to be on site, and an important component of that when you aren't together then is communication, right? So having the communication, whether it's a daily huddle or all company meeting or regular all company meeting, different touch points, Teams chats, channels. Employee engagement is, I think, important. Clearly, we've talked about employees and keeping a pulse on how your employees are doing and have the right tools and resources to do their jobs well. I think, yeah, employee support and just that human experience and element, like Greg was talking about, like finding authentic ways to show you care. And sometimes that can be through a benefits package or, pay, sure, but a competitive benefits package, or can just be simple things, right? I think, mental health is a real thing. And, we have an EAP program. That's something that we didn't list in our benefits that, we probably should have listed in it, but we do have an EAP program. And I think mental health is, that stigma has slowly gone away over time, again, with COVID. So making sure your employees have the resources they need to deal with issues. Flexible paid time off, we're seeing more of that. More and more clients are offering more of a flexible paid time off program, rather than just say, X amount of vacation days per year. So that would be something. I think increased training development, which we already touched upon as well. So I think I'll stop there. I'm sure that there's other things, but attracting the right talent, what are the challenges? I can say, research is showing out there. I think the top 3 challenges, it's attracting the right talent, which again, PO can help with, meeting higher total rewards demands, compensation demands, and then just being able to retain your key talent. I'd say those are the biggest challenges for companies out there.
Yeah, and Terry, you mentioned EAP, EAP Employer Assistance Program. So resources that employees can access confidentially. Greg, do you have anything that you'd want to share? Any trends? Reducing turnover, increasing morale, providing training?
Yeah, I'm a little removed from it, so I don't know if I have, the super, like the pulse. I mean, the one thing that, I hear speaking to other CEOs and leaders is the big challenge I see is, dealing with this hybrid work arrangement, and and how do you continue to strengthen your culture when people aren't in the office every day? So that's what I hear from kind of my friends and colleagues that are CEOs and leaders. And what I'm finding is that they're having to spend more time thinking about their culture, communication, core values, brand promise, a lot of the Jim Collins stuff. And they're having to spend more time kind of reinforce some of Jim Collins's fundamentals because people aren't together every day. That's kind of the trend. So they're spending a lot more time, and there are proven tools that you could use to strengthen communication and core values and culture. That's kind of a little bit above and beyond the PEO, but what I like to say is how I like to look at it is, the PEO with the HR, payroll, and benefits platform, that's kind of taking care of table stakes, kind of what you need to be a great employer, and then it allows your leadership to free up their time to focus not on the business and on the culture. And so I think leaders need to spend more time today focused on the culture, not on what the PEO does. And by engaging a PEO and getting the table stakes, out of your domain, it allows you to focus more on your company culture. And when I say that, I'm meaning, if you haven't read Good to Great, and Jim Collins' stuff, that's what I'm talking about. So the PEO allows you to focus more time on the Jim Collins stuff.
Yeah, and when just looking at the employee life cycle, it's like identifying the moments that matter, right, for cultural connectiveness, and onboarding, coaching, one-on-ones, peer recognition, are some of those things that you can focus on more when you don't have the administrative burden.
Yeah, Greg, we do have, I think we have time for one more question, but Greg, this one was asked specifically of you. Do you think that AI will be able to assist HR?
Boy. Wow.
This is the wrong question to ask with only 3 minutes left. I'm just kidding.
So I'm gonna give the answer, and the answer is yes. I spent some time this weekend with my son, who's a senior at Northwestern, and we spent about an hour with Chat GPT, and it blew me away. Like, I could not believe. Yeah, there will be a place for AI, and it's real. That's a great question, because I think from the board level, that's prompting me to bring that up at the board, and there will be and for a small company to implement AI in HR is not going to be easy. But now that I think about it, where are you going to see it first? You're going to see it at large employers in the back end, and you'll see it at the PEO, because the PEO is a large employer. We will. Yeah, that's actually the best question I've had in a very long time. It's incumbent upon us to figure out how to get it into our platform.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say, I'm sure it will impact some parts. Absolutely. You know, PEO or outsourced HR, it's human resources, right? The human part of human resources. So I do think that's where our talent becomes extremely important with our internal team to make sure we're supporting all of our clients and their employees well. So,
but probably, Tara, but for us, I could see it probably, taking some of the more mundane payroll and benefit tasks and handling it through AI, and now actually freeing up our human capital to even do like greater and more sophisticated stuff for our clients.
Correct. It's almost, I'm right there with you, Greg, because it's almost, again, taking off things that are maybe non-core and that pretty much what the client won't want to pay for, right? And then leaving what they would want to pay for to the human touch. So, all right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you both, Tara, Greg, for sharing your time, your insight with us. Thank you to those in attendance for showing up. And I think we got to the questions that we had, but please email us if we want to go to the next slide. You can get a hold of us after this conversation. We also, like I said earlier, we have recorded this conversation. If you registered for this discussion, you will get a copy of the recording, and you'll also get a copy of the ebook. And if you ask nicely, Tara may even sign it. So thank you. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And we'll hope to do this again soon.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.